Welcome back to episode 2 of my first time trying something new. Today we're making Pavlova. I've never had this, I've obviously never made it, but I've seen it all over the internet. It looks really delicious, and I have some egg whites here that need to be used, so I figured what better thing to make with it than Pavlova. I even went and bought a tub of white sugar to make it. And this thing came in a solid block, so I had to dump it out and chop it into pieces and sift it so it's usable. To get started, we have our KitchenAid. Because I don't want to be doing this all by hand, we're going to put our egg whites in there, and these things are supposed to be room temperature. Now I just take a whole compilation of recipes and kind of use my instinct to put together what I think would work best. I see some recipes saying to bake it at 200, some say 250, so I went 225 to get that middle ground. The sugar is the same. I see some saying more, some saying less. I'm kind of doing my own thing here. That is how I'm making these recipes. We're just going to dump these egg whites in here and put it on medium speed and beat these by themselves until they start being a little frothy. We're supposed to beat these egg whites until stiff peaks start forming, not just until they're frothy. So while those beat up by themselves, I'm going to measure out the sugar. And for anybody that doesn't live in the United States, I did include metric measurements as well. Our soft peaks are starting to form, so it's time to start adding this sugar 1 tablespoon at a time and keep beating it until stiff, glossy peaks form. Just sprinkle it in there a little at a time. I've added all of my sugar, so I'm just going to keep whipping it until it's stiff and glossy. In my opinion, this is one of the easier things I've made in my life. I've never made it before, so I might eat those words later. But you just whip it up, add some sugar, and then you fold some things in, and then you bake it. I have to bake it on parchment paper, and I'm making double the recipe that I put in my membership for you guys. So one makes an 8-inch round circle, round Pavlova I guess I should say. I'm making 2 of them, so I have 1 pan for each, and I need to take this 8-inch cardboard and draw a circle on here so I know where to put it. I'm going to use a permanent marker to draw that circle. Then we're going to flip this parchment paper upside down so we don't get any food on that permanent marker line. I'm going to repeat that for the second piece, but if you're only making 1 batch, you only need 1 piece. Now I'm going to scrape this down a little so everything is for sure mixed together. Because the peaks are stiff and glossy now, I'm just going to keep whipping it a little bit more to make sure everything is incorporated. I think we've whipped them long enough, so now I'm going to shut my mixer off. And the rest of the stuff we just fold in. I kind of don't get it because I'm used to beating that stuff in, but I'm following my recipe. We're going to take it out and take the whipper off as well. Let's set our KitchenAid aside so we can keep working. Then I have my sifter because we need to add cornstarch, and because we're folding it in, I'm kind of convinced I should sift it in. Now it only takes a little bit, so I'm just going to sift it over the top and then fold it in. On top of the cornstarch we need vanilla. That is optional, but I'm going to add it because I want a little bit of flavor. Just drizzle it over the top a little because you fold that in with the cornstarch. Now for this part you can do lemon juice or white vinegar. I decided I'm going to do lemon juice, and I know I should be using fresh squeeze, but I don't have enough lemons to do this and my topping because I want to make lemon curd for my topping. Just drizzle that over the top with your vanilla and cornstarch. Now we're just going to fold that stuff in gently. Once you have that stuff all folded in very gently, you need to put it out on the circles here that you have on your parchment paper. I have to split it in half because I'm making 2 of them. I'm also still very suspicious as to why you fold this cornstarch and stuff in instead of whipping it in, because I'm always used to whipping it in whenever I make meringue or something. I'm just going to do my best to cut this in half. I'm going to take this spoon and dab some of this stuff in the corners to hold down the parchment paper. Now that I have these bows out here on my evenly distributed piles, I need to turn them into a nest by kind of hollowing out the center. I think this is as good as it's gonna get. One of them is a little bit lopsided, but now we stick them in the oven to bake them. You bake them at a very low temperature for very long because you're basically drying them out. So they're hard on the outside and chewy on the inside. Now while our Pavlova is baking, we're going to make our toppings. I decided to do a blueberry with a lemon curd, so we're gonna make the lemon curd. I've never actually made lemon curd. I always just make lemon filling. We need some fresh lemon zest, so I'm going to zest these lemons. I have my lemons zested now, so I'm going to add my egg yolks. I have some left over from another recipe I made. Then we also need some whole eggs, so I'm going to add those in as well. For the lemon curd, we're going to use raw sugar because I'm not a fan of that white sugar, so we're going to add our sugar as well. And lastly, we choose our lemons to use the lemon juice. I'm not going to worry about taking seeds out if they get in because we need to put it through a strainer after it's cooked. Dump your juice in with the rest of the stuff and then just whisk everything together. Now we take this on the stove and put it over a pot of simmering water, double boiler method, and we keep whisking it constantly until it turns thick. Once that has thickened like this, we're gonna take it off the heat and then we add some cubed butter to it. Whisk that butter in there until it's all melted. Once that butter is whisked in there until it's melted, put it through a strainer to get rid of all the lemon zest. This is how much zest I got out of there just by bouncing this thing against the bowl. Now we have our curd. It needs to cool off, so I'm going to cover it with this saran wrap and I'm going to put it down on the curd. We never did this when I was growing up because mom always told me never use saran wrap on hot stuff, but I have seen so many people do this. I think I'm going to try it. I'm starting to feel like I'm in pastry school right now, so Food Network, if you need a contestant, please check me out. Now I'm just gonna stick it in the fridge and let it cool off, and you can make this a couple days before you make your pavlova if you want to. For our blueberry compote, I'm going to use my wild frozen blueberries because these are by far my favorite. I go through so much Wyman's frozen mixed berries that it isn't quite funny. I have my perfect formula to make myself a little smoothie with these things, and it's delicious. Just measure your blueberries out into your saucepan. Then I'm going to add my sugar, and again, I'm using raw sugar because I am not the fondest of that white sugar. Just add it to your blueberries. And we're going to add lemon juice. Fresh squeezed would be best, but I didn't have enough lemon, so I'm just using canned lemon juice. I suppose it would be bottled. Just add that in there as well. Then we're going to take this over to the stove, and we're going to stir it until the blueberries start releasing their juice. While that's heating up, we need to make a little bit of a slurry for thickener. We have some cornstarch, and we're going to add water to that cornstarch. Just mix that together a little. It would work better if you had a whisk, but I don't have a small enough whisk that's clean. My dishwasher is packed full. I don't use the dishwasher to wash my dishes. I just wash them and put them in the dishwasher so they can dry off. But it's very full right now, and I don't feel like digging through it to try and find a whisk. That cornstarch is all dissolved now. Once your blueberries have released all their juices, we're just going to stir this in there and keep stirring it over the heat until it turns thick, and then our compote is done. Pavlova is done baking now, so we're gonna let it set in the oven to cool off for at least an hour. It's been a hot minute. Our pavlova is almost ready to come out of the cool off oven, so we're gonna get our whipped cream ready because we need to put whipped cream on top with our lemon curd and our blueberry compote. This blueberry compote turned out really good. I haven't checked the lemon curd, so I'm not sure how this has turned out yet. But let's whip our cream. You can obviously whip this with a handheld beater or a KitchenAid stand if you want to. I'm going to use this manual Amish egg beater. Once your cream is whipped up stiffly, we're going to add powdered sugar for sweetener. If you add any other sugar, your cream is going to separate from the water. That just makes it not nice. We're also going to add some vanilla flavoring in there. Just whip those things into your cream. We have our cream all whipped up and ready now. I'm going to get my lemon curd and see how it turned out. Plastic came off good, so that's probably a good thing. Looks like it's beautifully creamy. I'm going to stick my finger in and taste it. Yeah. Phenomenal. Now it's time to get the pavlova. This stuff has some kind of a weird texture on it, but it is nice and solid. Like, it isn't soft or anything. It isn't wet. So we're gonna use it. In case you didn't know, you can't refrigerate pavlova, or this hard shell that's on the outside will go soft and get soggy. So you wanna eat this as soon as possible after baking it. And you never put your toppings on until you're ready to serve it immediately. Put your whipped cream in these centers first. And I'm praying that these things don't collapse because I know that can happen. So far, so good. I'm going to put the lemon curd on top of the whipped cream. I'm just gonna try and put a nice even layer on top of both of them. I have a little bit of lemon curd left here that I'm not going to put on because these look good as they are. So I'm gonna drizzle my blueberry compote over the top. Our blueberry compote is on. It is looking so beautiful. I'm almost afraid to cut into it. The blueberry compote is drizzling nicely down the sides, but I'm gonna go get a knife and try and cut into this really gently. I am so excited to taste this. That outside shell is perfection. This is what we're looking at. I hope it tastes as good as it looks. Let's take this bite and see. This is phenomenal. This is definitely a make again dessert. It is delicious. If you don't like blueberry or lemon, you definitely don't have to put that on top. You can put nothing on top or whatever you want. But this combination definitely hits the spot with me. If you guys want the recipe for this, it is in my membership. If you go subscribe to my membership, you have access to all of these recipes. It is just a page with the recipe, instructions, and everything with a picture of the food that I made included on the recipe sheet. You can download it, screenshot it, whatever you want, and save it. I hope you guys go try making this because it is really delicious. It is not that hard and so worth the time it takes. Enjoy, and we will see you in the next episode in 2 weeks.